Today's Small Business Saturday radio podcast is being brought to you by Noretta Family Medicine, cutting through the red tape of healthcare.
Good morning, Columbia, South Carolina, and of course to everyone who is tuning in around the Midlands, outside of the Midlands, in the state of South Carolina, in the country, outside of the country. Because it's global, you know, everything right now is really tiny. Okay, so you can be listening from anywhere. And if you are, I do appreciate you. Welcome to Small Business Saturday Radio, where we celebrate local entrepreneurs and small business owners who are building our communities and making a positive impact on our economy. I am Tazima, the owner of Sunrise Artisan Bath and Body, located right here in 5 Points. And today, my guest, and I feel really cool about this because we're going to be talking about something, a skill set that I think unfortunately many of us have lost over time. So I'm really excited to talk to my guest about what it is that he does. And so who is your guest, Tazima? Well, today, Gaten Bush is the founder and creative force behind Markettwentynine. I love that name, Markettwentynine. And alterations and apparel brand offering, custom garments, pattern and sample production, appointment-based tailoring, and curated in-house pieces raised in, and I hope I get this right, Valdosta, because he was laughing at me because I'm like, where is that? Okay. Is that right? Valdosta.
Yes.
Okay. Valdosta, Georgia. Gaten's early exposure to small town life fueled a drive to create beyond limitations. Don't you love that? Like growing up in the small town is what really inspired him to be even more creative, like without the limitations, to move beyond that. His journey into fashion began with sneaker culture and evolved into garment construction, rooted in the belief that style is most powerful when it's made, not just worn. Self-taught through hands-on practice, Gaten refined his craft through years of experimentation, collaboration, and mentorship from seasoned tailors. Now based in Columbia, South Carolina, Gaten continues to build Markettwentynine as a space where precision, intention, and individuality meet, blending craftsmanship with modern expression. Without further adu, Gaten, welcome to Small Business Saturday Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm really excited to have you because one of the things that there's a few things I'm impressed with you by. The first one is you're young. Now, I can say that because I'm old, okay? I look good, but I'm old. But no, one of the things that I love is when I see young people becoming entrepreneurs, because to me, I just can't imagine anything else. I grew up in a household, everything is military-based, law-based, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
government workers and all of that. So the idea of being an entrepreneur was never on my map, but I have all this creative energy. And I think that had I followed that early on, I'd be doing a lot of different things at this point in my life.
Yeah.
But because I didn't have any examples of what it was like to be an entrepreneur or to have to depend solely on an income that you generate, right?
Yes.
I opted to do the military government Pentagon thing. So when I tell people now, oh yeah, I make soap, but I worked at the Pentagon, they're like, how did that happen? So I'm really impressed with the fact that you're young and an entrepreneur, but I was really intrigued with the fact that what title do you give yourself in the industry that you're part? Like, is it, I don't know, like, is it seamstress? Is it,
I guess,
what is it called now?
The proper term, I guess, in the sewing sense would be a seamstress, because that would include the skill set of a tailor or someone that does alterations, as well as someone that can design patterns and does garment construction. Seamstress is kind of the accumulation of all of those things.
Okay, so it includes everything.
Yeah, technically, like when it goes on the scale, seamstress would include all of those things.
Okay.
I guess I would also be considered a designer because I'm not just altering or dealing with patterns or pieces that are already created. It's kind of my own construction. So I guess that's where a designer would fall into that.
So you come up with your own, like you'll have a vision of something that you see, and then based on that, you will create your own pattern for that.
Exactly.
And then put that. So, okay, so I know this is going to sound kind of weird, so forgive me. But is that something that separates the seamstress from the designer? That the designer is like this creative force that has this vision, but is also a seamstress, whereas a seamstress may just be tailoring stuff or working with someone else's patterns and stuff like that.
I believe a seamstress would be using pre-constructed patterns or dealing with garments that are already put together, compared to a designer. You know, they would have that concept and that same skill set, but they would go out of their way to make their own pattern. So I guess that would be the main difference.
So let me ask you this. When you see now, so as you can tell by the way that I dress, obviously I am not a fashionista. Okay. But when you see those shows, I don't even know what they're called, the Gala Fest or whatever, and you see these designer suits and dresses and stuff like that, do you see yourself as like, okay, one day that could be me, like I'm designing for some major celebrity? Or do you see yourself designing for like the everyday Joe Blow, so to speak?
I would say I would have to be designing for the everyday, because like, granted, the pieces that are made and put on those runways or put out at the Met Galas and things of that nature, they're beautiful. But I would say I'm a little country, so I'm not super involved or necessarily aware of what's going on in that scene. So those like avant-garde and like, you know, very high-end pieces, they're great, but I would never wear it. And I know my homies would never wear it. So it's like, and it's cool. Like the people I looked up to, the people that made a difference in my life, they were everyday people. They wore a Carhartt or a Walmart Brahma boots to work, and you know, stuff like that. So it's not really about, you know, catering to people in a different class than me. Right.
Oh, I love that though.
Yeah.
Right, because I think that unfortunately we've just become so superficial, but that's a whole nother show. Listen, we're gonna have to go into this commercial break, but when we come back, everybody, definitely I want you to check out my guest, Gaten Bush, and we're going to talk more about this tradition that seems to be like a dying skill set, and hopefully we're going to tell you why it's so important. We'll be right back.
The City of Columbia's Office of Business Opportunities supports small business owners. We help minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses with loans, technical assistance, education, and advocacy. We're here to help business owners avoid mistakes. Contact us with questions and let us help. For more information, call 803-545-3950 or visit obo.columbiasc.gov. Together, we are Columbia.
Are you frustrated with the healthcare system and looking for a change? Then look no further. I'm Dr. Melissa Boylan with Noretta Family Medicine. We are a direct primary care office where we take the time to get to know you. For a reasonable monthly fee, we offer transparent billing and easy-to-access primary care for all ages. Noretta Family Medicine, cutting through the red tape of healthcare. Find out more by visiting NorettaFamilyMed.com. That's Noreta FamilyMed.com.
Are you looking for a luxurious way to pamper yourself? Look no further than Sunrise Artisan Bath & Body. Our plant-based soaps and lotions are designed to provide you with the ultimate experience. Our products are natural and nourishing, leaving you feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. So go ahead, treat yourself with Sunrise Artisan, which is more than a bath, it's an experience. Sunrise Artisan, located at 710 Saluda Avenue in 5 Points, or online at sunrisebath.com. Sunrise Artisan.
Looking for the perfect gift or a little something to brighten your day? Visit A Little Happy at 707 Saluda Avenue in 5 Points. Discover unique gifts, delightful accessories, and one-of-a-kind treasures, all carefully curated by our owner, Ashley Lindler. At A Little Happy, we believe in spreading joy through every item. So come on in, find your happy, and support local. Your next favorite thing is waiting.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Small Business Saturday Radio. Today in studio with me is a young entrepreneur who is I'm not sure what to call you, right? So I know I don't want to say seamstress because that seems like it doesn't definitely encapsulate all that you do. You're more than a designer. You're a young entrepreneur, and you're the founder of Markettwentynine, which I absolutely love that name. Where did that come from, Gaten? So listen, everybody, this is Gaten Bush, and he's in studio with me live today, and we're talking about not only his business, but as I stumbled through the terminology, because I'm old school, it's like, yeah, I know how to sew. But you know what? I don't know how to do patterns. So before we get into that, where did Markettwentynine come from, the name of your company?
Okay, so Markettwentynine derives from the area code I live in, which is 229.
Okay.
And originally it was called 29th Market, but people just, for whatever reason, kept flipping it and was calling it Markettwentynine. So I was like, okay. And I ended up flipping the name.
Oh,
and
wow.
Since then, it's stuck.
That's interesting. I love it. I was like, there's a rhythm to it, like an unspoken rhythm to it. And it sounds like a fashion house name, right? Yeah. So I love that, Markettwentynine. So, okay, so what was it that made you realize that this was a passion for you? Like, what I want you to tell me, because I know you started off with sneakers.
Right.
And then you moved into clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that? Like, what was it that made you say, wait a minute, I really love this? Was it people saying, oh man, those sneakers are awesome? Was it you recognizing that you could just lose time and creating something just from your heart and your mind? What was it that made you say, okay, this is it for me?
I think personally for me, it was when I did purchase my first machine and I started sewing and, of course, butchering my clothes. But I always grew up getting hand-me-downs or thrifted items, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm not the biggest guy. So 9 times out of 10, it was you'll grow into it, what my mom loved to say. So by the time I graduated, I had a bunch of you'll grow into it in my closet. Oh. And so it was just when I was able to actually alter something and it fit correctly and what I thought I wanted, it made me very happy. It was a very satisfying feeling because most of the times it was just wear what you can, like shopping in kids sections and stuff like that. So it just got annoying after a while. Yeah. And then finally I felt like I was able to fix my problem because I did everything. Like I have a million hobbies. So at that point it was just a new skill that I acquired.
You know what's interesting about that, because that's one of the first rules of becoming an entrepreneur, is recognizing the problem and then figuring out how to solve it. And you just said that was a problem for you. You know, you're going to grow into it, you know, and it's like, okay, I don't want to grow. I don't want to wait until I grow into these clothes that are a little larger for me than I want. And so that was the problem for you, finding stuff that made you feel comfortable. And instead of just waiting to grow into something, you decided that you were going to solve the problem. Yeah. So, see, you were already on that path, because that is the first rule of becoming an entrepreneur? What is the problem and how can you solve it? So when you decided that you were going to buy your first sewing machine, was there a sewing machine in the house, or were you just hand stitching stuff? You know what I'm saying? How was that? What led you to buying your own sewing machine?
So by that time, I was watching stuff on YouTube that dealt with sewing, and I was trying to attempt hand sewing wise, to emulate what they were doing, but it just didn't work.
Right.
And so I had been telling myself I need to get a sewing machine. And then when I was graduating high school, of course, I got money as a gift. And first thing I thought was, okay, well, I guess it's time to get a machine. So that's how I'm able to pinpoint how long I've been doing it, because I graduated in 2016 and now it's 2026.
Oh, so, wow. 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that's when I opened my soap store in 2016. So listen, when you got your first sewing machine, do you still have that one, or did you upgrade?
No, I've upgraded quite a few times, or just gotten new machines over the years. Like I know that first one, I can't remember what happened to that. I think one time it fell off a balcony or something like that. And I ended up not being able to use it anymore. And I was like, okay.
Wow, that's not cool at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I can relate. This reminds me of when I first started playing guitar, which I haven't played my guitars now in years because I'm always so consumed making products at the shop. But when my very first guitar it was cheap. It was but to me, it was everything, right? Because it was like, oh my God, I got my guitar. And over time, I ended up getting better quality guitars to where I ended up having Martins. And Martin is like a big brand name in the instrumental industry for making guitars. They're known and there's other companies out there too, but there's something about the sound of a Martin. So I'm saying all of this to say, when I first had that really cheap guitar that I probably paid $50 for, right? As I got more and more into the music I was creating and coming across better instruments, it got easier to play them.
Yeah.
Right? Because I started off with a box with strings, okay?
Basically. Yeah.
And when you master that, then when you get into the real stuff, it's like butter. The sound was different. My fingers are easily sliding up and down the neck and all of that. It's just totally different. So I'm thinking, was that the same for you? Like when you started off, you probably had just, some little cheap sewing machine.
I've had little home machines. I think my first one was $100 from Walmart.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and those home machines, now that I've worked in a shop quite a few times and used industrial machines, and then I recently just purchased a vintage industrial machine for myself. Now I'm like, I really don't want to touch those little ones.
You can't.
Unless it's maybe a heavy duty singer or something, but other than that, I'm
because now you know what the limitations are.
Yeah.
So when you stepped into it, there was no way for you to know the limitations because you weren't aware of them.
Yeah.
But the more you got deeper into your craft, you're like, wait a minute. Oh, my machine can't do this.
Exactly.
Or when it stitches like this, I need a tighter stitch or a wider stitch. It's interesting because I used to make all of my clothing when I was wearing African clothing, and I never used a pattern. So the beautiful thing for me with African clothing, it all came down to the fold. Yeah. So if you knew how to fold the fabric, it was easy to cut out the shape.
Yeah.
And so African clothing became so easy for me to make that I would just go get fabric and just make, I'm making tunics, tops, pants, skirts, dresses, and none of it was done with a pattern. And when I actually tried to work with the pattern, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It was so complex. Yeah.
Because when I first messed with patterns, I was like, this is stupid. Because, in essence, you are using a pattern. It's just... It's from your mental, you know how to fold, and you know how it's supposed to look, and then you're able to cut. But in reality, you could just be applying a piece of paper over the top of that, and it's the same concept.
Yeah.
So in reality, it's just learning how to draft your knowledge basically on a sheet of paper so that you can just lay it on fabric.
Exactly. And what ended up happening was I started showing other people how I was making pants, because pants are hard, especially that middle part, right?
Pants are terrible.
Yeah. But then I would fold a sheet of paper, right, in a certain way, show them how you cut out like this notch in the back, how you cut this straight in the front, put those things together, and it made sense.
Yeah.
But if I got that pattern from those fabric or companies from back in the day, I don't know what a notch is, and I don't care. And why do we have these tabs? It's like,
yeah, it makes
you know
sense.
what I'm saying? So, but I've always had a sewing machine in my house, and none of my daughters know how to use it.
Yeah, no, nobody really sews. I mean, my mom, she knows how to sew like a little bit here and there, but it's not like she had the machine out and was like, sewing
just going
pretty
for
regularly.
it.
I maybe seen her sew something like 2 or 3 times.
Right.
But then like randomly I started sewing, and then she started sewing more too. So,
Right.
I was glad to see that. But
So, the other thing that's interesting too is that I was looking at this documentary about a year or two ago, and it was talking about the fashion industry and how they're making all these things are like super cheap, but they have no longevity to them. They're just like throwaway stuff. And now it was talking about, I can't remember exactly the terminology, but clothing that doesn't last. It's
fast
just
fashion.
Fast fashion.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts about fast fashion.
I feel like people get it misconstrued when we're like, hey, fast fashion isn't good, because they think we're talking about the specific style of clothing. We don't have a problem with the sets and the mini skirts and all this stuff. Like that's fine. It's okay. The problem is we're producing it at an increased rate with super cheap materials. So what's happening is they're breaking or decomposing faster, which is producing more waste.
Right.
And it's not reusable. It's not like stuff that we can break down and use into more fabric. Like some of the stuff is like one and done. So we're just creating more trash. And that's why we're like, it's a problem, because then like people are expecting cheap 24/7. So then when it comes to garments that are quality, people aren't willing to purchase. And I guess that's where we're losing people.
All right, everybody, we've got to do bottom of the hour news, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Small Business Saturday Radio.
The City of Columbia's Office of Business Opportunities supports small business owners. We help minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses with loans, technical assistance, education, and advocacy. We're here to help business owners avoid mistakes. Contact us with questions and let us help. For more information, call 803-545-3950 or visit obo.columbiasc.gov. Together, we are Columbia.
Looking for the perfect gift or a little something to brighten your day? Visit A Little Happy at 707 Saluda Avenue in 5 Points. Discover unique gifts, delightful accessories, and one-of-a-kind treasures, all carefully curated by our owner, Ashley Lindler. At A Little Happy, we believe in spreading joy through every item. So come on in, find your happy, and support local. Your next favorite thing is waiting.
Are you frustrated with the healthcare system and looking for a change? Then look no further. I'm Dr. Melissa Boylan with Noretta Family Medicine. We are a direct primary care office where we take the time to get to know you. For a reasonable monthly fee, we offer transparent billing and easy-to-access primary care for all ages. Noretta Family Medicine, cutting through the red tape of healthcare. Find out more by visiting NorettaFamilyMed.com. That's NORETA FamilyMed.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back. You know what? I always get to this part of the show, and I totally... So this is why you know it's authentic, too. I always forget to tell my guests, you're going to have to come up with the business tip of the week for the audience, okay? And so I just looked over at Gaten and was like, you got to do a business tip. And he's like, what? So the business tip of the week is like any little piece of advice that you want to share with the audience about what you think they should know. So it could be like what you were just talking about, the fast fashion industry and how it creates more trash, which is horrific all by itself. But the importance of purchasing things that are quality made, because not only do you not have to repurchase those things over and over and over again, but if it's really made well, I have things like that I had like from back in the day, but I also know that there were things like I'm that person that I love older pieces because I think they're quality.
Yeah.
I have like a piece of furniture from my grandmother that to this day, I'm not, first of all, I probably couldn't afford to buy it today because it's real wood, right? But the quality and the craftsmanship, and these are things that you can pass on. So anyway, what's your business tip?
If I had to give a business tip, I guess I want to be more universal. One thing that I've learned with running a business, whether you have one client every 6 months or you have 20 every week, be overly communicative. Like reach out, give updates, let people know what's going on, especially things that are custom or things that are very specific. Do not give a very vague, update every once in a while. Try to keep them very included because involvement brings ease to your work.
You know what? Okay. Oh, I just saw something. See, this is our engineer for the podcast. Oh, listen, everybody, I always forget to do this too. You can check out our podcast. So if you missed the show, you can listen to the podcast anytime you want. And all you have to do is type in Small Business Saturday Radio. And Columbia, South Carolina, it's good. The podcast will come up and you can check out this show. You can replay this show. So it's really cool. But the engineer that's over our podcast stuff just sent me a text about iHeart. So I'm just like, okay. All right. That threw me totally off. But yeah, everybody, make sure you do tune into the podcast because the more people that we get checking out the podcast also allows me to be able to bring in other kind of people maybe that you suggest that I try to interview and everything. So, but yes, so Gaten, okay, so you're basically saying stay in touch, stay grounded with your customers or, right, the supporters of what you do. Because that's it. To me, that's a no-brainer. I never understood how people could treat their customer base like crap or ignore them or take them for granted when that's going to make or break who you are. I don't care what you think. If you don't understand that your customers or your clients are like little silent partners, okay,
yes.
in your business, you can forget having a successful business. And one of the things that's carried me through when I've had very challenging times was my customer base because they are really loyal to me. Even when I can't get something out as fast as I know I need to get it out, they're very loyal. Like right now, after Christmas, I have to rebuild my shop every year with products because I make everything. Yeah. So if I'm selling like 90% of it during the month of December, I got to rebuild an entire store. You've been in there, an entire store. Well, my customers get it. They're very patient with me. Half my soap table is still empty, but they know I'm going to get it done. But it's like they recognize, we know you make all of this from hand, okay? Yeah. So we get it. Talking about making things from hand, how do you keep up with the demand, right? Like, because you're making everything from hand too. So do you just make one piece? And if you make one piece and everybody loves that, how are you able to reproduce it?
Well, now I'm at a point where if I make a piece,
Mm-hmm.
I always make a pattern. So if I make something that I like, then I'm going to make the pattern to recreate that piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that point, like I'll wear said piece in like a post or like my story or certain things. And most times if people like things, they'll be like, where'd you get that? Or
Mm-hmm.
are you making those or something like that? And then I'll be like, okay, I'll recreate, and then I'll do like a small cinematic video or something, like
Oh.
30 seconds, 60 seconds to like
Mhm.
advertise, because I really like film. So I figured rather than just taking and making a photo shoot, I could do like short films to give more attention to the pieces. And then from there, I'll just do a drop and people will hit me up.
Wow.
And it goes like that.
That's really interesting. So when you're making your pieces, has there ever been something that came out so amazing that it's like, I don't want to reproduce this.
Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
keep this just as this unique piece.
Yeah, there's plenty of times. I have like a bunch of hats and jackets that plenty of people have asked me, am I making? And it's always a no, because I think the term is gatekeeping. But,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
okay. Like, I made this. It's not like I went and bought it, so I think it's okay for me to keep it to myself.
So when you keep it to yourself like that, are you doing it and wearing it, or do you have like a collection of one piece items that you've made that you're not going to make again, and maybe somewhere down the line you're able to sell those pieces for top dollar?
Yeah, most times, I'm not going to say I always think to sell my pieces, but I know there's always a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I always keep that in mind when making something, just in case. Or maybe later on, like, I'll love it now, but be like, I want to get rid of these, or I know people would really, rock with these, and then I'll recreate and do a drop for something that people were, excited about super long time ago. So I'm like, okay, let's see who's still interested and go from there.
What was the hardest thing that you had to learn how to make? Because you mentioned, I think, a hat and a jacket, especially a jacket, but a hat too, because people got different size heads. It's
That's
like,
true.
you know what I'm saying? But especially a jacket though, because a jacket, that's a lot.
I feel like jackets are pretty simple,
Really?
or to me at least. I think the most difficult thing I've had to work with or make is probably suits, like formal wear. Because I've done like pageant dresses and I've done like a suit before. And suits are extremely difficult, I think, to make. And I used to feel like they were super difficult to alter, but now I love altering suits.
Okay.
Specifically. I think that's my favorite thing, to tailor. But if somebody asks me to make it, I'm going to charge a lot because not fun.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah. Or at least maybe I don't understand it enough.
I feel like that about certain products that I make because they're extremely complex. And I think when you get to that point, actually, Gaten, I think what you're also touching on is that eventually you begin to recognize your own value in the process.
Exactly.
Because I know early on it's just like, oh, that's nothing. I could do that for 2 cents, right? And now it's like, oh, no, that's not working no more because you know what? It takes me a long time to come up with this, and then I got to put all these things together and blah, blah, blah. And so the more you recognize your own value in the process, then you begin to charge accordingly. So I like the fact that you're even thinking like that. What was the most challenging thing you think for you when you decided to do Markettwentynine?
I think the most difficult thing I've run into is, which I think most business owners can agree with, is building the clientele. Like creating that consistent need that people will come to you for whatever it is that you produce or your service. Specifically with tailoring, it's like I have to consistently accumulate new clientele because it's not like the same person is going to come every single week with a bunch of pieces to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is enough to pay my bills.
Right.
So it's like you have to keep gaining people's attention.
So do you have people that come to you and they have an idea and they present the idea that they would like for you to create for them?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people have come to me with like custom ideas, but I think people get the concept of a custom very misconstrued because they come to me and be like, I want you to make me something. And I'm like, do you have an idea? Like, do you have a base where you're like curious? And like, they'd be like, oh, I want a jacket. I'm like, okay, well.
Can you tell me what kind of jacket
like,
do
people
you want?
aren't very specific, but they want a custom specific piece just because they know I can make it. They're like, oh, okay, well, let me see if he can make it. And I'm like, well, you need to be a little more sure about what you want to do when it comes to a custom piece because I'm going to go based off of your body.
Right.
And so there's a lot of specifications in that.
That's right. So have you ever gone to the fabric districts? Like, I think there's one in New York and definitely California. Do those still exist or?
Yeah, they're still out there. I've never been to either place. I've been supposed to go to New York. I've been planning a trip out there for this year. So I will be traveling there soon. And I'm supposed to visit California, but there's not really anything out there that I'm itching to go see, I guess.
Okay. So how about like, what else are you thinking about in terms of Markettwentynine? Like, do you see yourself putting, or maybe you already have put on shows that just present your creations, right?
Yeah.
Have you done that yet? Or do you even think about doing that?
Yeah, of course. I always think about the possibility of doing like shows and things like that. I have done some stuff in like college and been a part of some shows before, but for me, I don't see myself super runway. Again, like I'm very involved or interested in film.
With everyday people.
Yeah, so I want everything to be like, you know, the common person can really envision themselves in the stuff that I produce, even if it is, you know, a vintage quality and things of that nature. So I prefer to do like social events and like short films using random people and like, you know, social experiments to like showcase things rather than the average just fashion show.
All right, everybody, we're about to enter into the final segment of Small Business Saturday Radio. I am totally enjoying the show, and our guest, Gaten Bush, will be right back.
The City of Columbia's Office of Business Opportunities supports small business owners. We help minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses with loans, technical assistance, education, and advocacy. We're here to help business owners avoid mistakes. Contact us with questions and let us help. For more information, call 803-545-3950 or visit obo.columbiasc.gov. Together, we are Columbia.
Are you frustrated with the healthcare system and looking for a change? Then look no further. I'm Dr. Melissa Boylan with Noretta Family Medicine. We are a direct primary care office where we take the time to get to know you. For a reasonable monthly fee, we offer transparent billing and easy-to-access primary care for all ages. Noretta Family Medicine, cutting through the red tape of healthcare. Find out more by visiting NorettaFamilyMed.com. That's NORETA FamilyMed.com.
Are you looking for a luxurious way to pamper yourself? Look no further than Sunrise Artisan Bath & Body. Our plant-based soaps and lotions are designed to provide you with the ultimate experience. Our products are natural and nourishing, leaving you feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. So go ahead, treat yourself with Sunrise Artisan, which is more than a bath, it's an experience. Sunrise Artisan, located at 710 Saluda Avenue in 5 Points, or online at sunrisebath.com. Sunrise Artisan.
Looking for the perfect gift or a little something to brighten your day? Visit A Little Happy at 707 Saluda Avenue in 5 Points. Discover unique gifts, delightful accessories, and one-of-a-kind treasures, all carefully curated by our owner, Ashley Lindler. At A Little Happy, we believe in spreading joy through every item. So come on in, find your happy, and support local. Your next favorite thing is waiting.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We are in the final segment of today's show. And you guys know I'm always saying that, oh my gosh, this show flies by. And I really, really, really believe that the reason why it flies by is because I always have the good fortune of being able to talk to someone that I just think is absolutely interesting. And I'm intrigued with people's backstories and how they got to the moment that we're in right now. And certainly Gaten Bush is one of those guests for me. I'm totally impressed with his decision to do something that, unfortunately, I believe it is just like a dying skill set. Like, I can probably count on one hand how many people in your generation knows how to use a sewing machine, Gaten. And there's so many things you can do with that, but we also live in this world where convenience is everything. And instead of figuring out like, oh, how can I alter this? Oh, can I make, even, you know what? I have jeans that I will put an iron patch on because I don't want to give up those jeans, right? Like Levi's from back in the day. Levi's will last you forever. Okay? That's quality, you know, and for me, that's quality. But even if I had a rip in something, I have a sewing machine there where I can fix it, you know, instead of, well, everybody wears ripped jeans now, but back in the day, if you had a rip in your jean, you wanted to fix it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I just wish that more people understood that is truly a talent. It's truly a gift. And it also allows you to be creative, but I also get that everybody is an artist and that, you know, there is a place for consumers. We need consumers. So I get it. But it's just so refreshing to talk to someone who's as creative as you are, Gaten, and in an industry that I just think that we need more people to think about, you know, making your own clothing and not wearing don't get, I'm not going to name any companies, but when I found out this one company, there's so many toxins in their clothing that is certain countries that won't even let them sell stuff in their countries because of the toxins. And when you start seeing stuff like this, you just realize why there's so many people that's sick. Yeah. I mean, from the stuff that you're putting in your body now to the stuff that you're putting on your body. Yeah. It's like just toxic.
It's always been like that. I feel like here in America, like we've definitely had a culture of like not using the smartest chemicals with producing like makeup and clothing and things of that nature. Because didn't there I know there's a point there's like uranium and like certain makeups and stuff like that way back in the day, and that just doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but then it all comes down to I can make more money by adding uranium.
Yeah, like what?
Maybe 1 million people have cancer now, but hey, I got a yacht. I mean, exactly. I don't get it. So anyway, that's another show. I'm going to do a show where I have like certain guests on the show and we all talk about what's going on with these corporations and where's our moral code when it comes down to how you want to make your money, what mark you want to leave on the planet when it's your time to leave the planet, because definitely you will be exiting this. You know, what do you want your name to carry? Like, you know, that's important to me. And I know for a lot of people it's just like it's about greed, and anyway, let's move on. Okay. So, Gaten, okay, for somebody that's listening to the show today and they figured out that, yes, I love making clothes, or I would love to, you know, learn how to sew and all of this kind of stuff, or I would like to step into that industry. What advice would you give them?
My best advice for anyone is to take action. Just do something.
Just do it.
Like, you know, 10 years later, I'm sitting doing a radio interview because I watched videos on YouTube. Just do it.
Right.
Just really try it. Like, genuinely with fashion. Also, just make your ideas when they come to you. Write them down, jot them, draft them, whatever, and make them, because I feel like everybody can attest. When it comes to great ideas, the universe does not spare it to like anyone in specific.
Exactly.
So like if you don't do it, the
somebody
universe
else
will take
it and move it on to someone else.
Chance to someone else. So.
You know what? That's so funny, because my grandmother used to say that to us, that, you know what? You got the idea, but so did 10 other people. So now it comes down to who's going to actually do it first.
Exactly.
Right. So it's not just because you got the idea. It's not like the universe is limited to, oh, this is Tazima and only for Tazima. No, it's a group of other people that's got the same idea too. So what it comes down to is who's going to take action.
Yeah.
So that's really good advice. What would you say is next for Markettwentynine? And what are you excited about right now?
Okay, so I guess next for Markettwentynine is just to have some more involvement in the community. I try to break my year into 4-quarter type of scale, so that gives me, I believe, 3 months to do like drops or events and certain things like that, video concepts. I know this was one of the goals. This happened within a quarter of the year, so that's an accomplishment. My next thing is I'm supposed to be doing a sewing workshop. My good friends at the APB skate store on Gervais Street downtown. Okay. They're going to let me use that space to do a sewing class, do like a little workshop. I know we talked about it as well. I wanted to do one in the 5 Points location.
Which is awesome. We could still talk about that too. You're going to do a sewing class.
Yeah. That's the next step. Is I want to call it a sewing tour, because I want to do a couple here. And then I frequent Atlanta all the time. I'm supposed to be out there next weekend. Okay. And like I plan to do some classes out there as well. Hopefully go down to like Florida, since my sister's in Jacksonville. Set up, some events out there. And along with that, I'll be doing pop-up shops and little events. And I have friends that DJ, so hopefully I can bring them along.
And have the music. Oh my gosh, that sounds like it's going to be so awesome. So in the sewing class, basically, what are you going to be sharing with people? How to make something basic, or the first steps to sewing? Yeah, basically. And how does that work? Do you have to have all these sewing machines?
I would have to provide the sewing machines, of course, which I believe I have like 3 or 4 currently. I'll probably get like 2 more. I'll probably do like 6 people per class to start off, and if it grows big enough,
then you can reinvest and get more machines.
Exactly. But I want to teach people a basic understanding of a sewing machine, how to set it up, how to use it, pretty much the basic stitches that you'll use when using the machine, and then I'll show them what a pattern is of either a bag, a shirt, whatever we're doing, and I'll just show them the basic understandings, how to put things together, and then they'll apply the knowledge of the sewing machine, and I'll just facilitate.
You know what I could see for you, though, is like, this is the creative part of me, too. So you know how we have all these, like, abandoned buildings around Columbia, right, that I don't understand why we can't do something with it. So if people say, oh, it's too costly to turn it into living quarters for other human beings, okay, whatever. But can you imagine, like, one of these abandoned brick buildings, which I love old brick buildings, and turning it into, like, one big, huge warehouse where you have these sewing classes. Yeah. And wouldn't that be awesome? Exactly. And because I think you would be, like, the only person in Columbia that's doing that. Like, if you had, like, 20 sewing machines. Yeah. And you're able to have people walk through, like when we did yoga classes, and you have other instructors helping individuals to make sure, you know what I'm saying? I think that would be amazing.
And that's one of the goals here before I leave Columbia, is to acquire a location for, of course, my shop, to do my own alterations as well as sell my own apparel. Right. But then, I could do my workshops there as well.
Yeah, I have a whole section where this is the classroom. Yeah. And then you're teaching people a skill set too, which I think is I think that's the most valuable thing about being an entrepreneur, is that you're being able to teach people a skill set. So the way that I look at me teaching people how to make products, everybody needs soap, man.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you ain't using it, it's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
So you want to use real soap, though, not that chemical stuff that, once again, is filled with toxins, and you wondering why your skin's so dry and itchy. Okay, I'm not going to go into that. How can people get in touch with you, Gaten?
So people can get in touch with me through, right now, mainly it's my social media, which would be Markettwentynine, or my personal social media, which is Hayden Gaten. But other than that, also there is my website, which is going to be markettwentynine.square.site, and from there I'll be putting updates for events and certain things. I'm planning to start a newsletter to keep people posted on things.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
And as well as, I'll post like video projects and stuff that I'll be doing, apparel, and people can book their appointments as well for alterations if they're looking to get that done.
I love it. So basically on social media, they just put in the search part, Markettwentynine.
Exactly.
And you're going to come up, and you're on all the platforms.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, everybody. Well, you know what, Gaten, thank you so much. We're definitely going to have to bring you back to see where you are, okay, on this journey. And for you guys out there, I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday.